After 3 years of our sailing adventure, we find ourselves hauled out in Puerto Penasco, Mexico, getting our boat ready for its next big adventure, sailing across the Pacific Ocean. Our days in the boatyard were becoming quite hectic. Amongst a giant list of small projects, we have 3 really big projects happening simultaneously: rebuilding our delaminated rudder, replacing a rotten bulkhead, and building a brand new Dodger in full enclosure with the help of our good friend Alex, who is visiting for just 10 days.
All right, good morning. Another day at the yard. I'm back in the forward cabin after spending yesterday working on the rudder. And I need to remove all of the extra tabbing that was left from when I cut out the bulkhead. I need to leave a nice smooth surface so that the new bulkhead can be put in. So what I'm going to do today is get out the grinder, sander, and start to try to remove and smoothen this out. I need to get this all cleaned and sanded and prepped so that the new bulkhead can be cut and fit in place and then tabbed in. Grinding inside of the forward cabin here isn't going to be very fun. I've got the hatch open above me and I've draped a plastic sheet and taped it to try to keep any fiberglass dust from moving into the rest of the boat. But I'm going to get all suited up and covered and get started. I've been down here grinding for most of the day today, and it's getting pretty close. So I've got this all ground down so it's nice and smooth. So when the new bulkhead comes in, it'll sit nice and flush on both sides. And I also ground out along the hull side there where the tab was for the shelf. And in this locker here where the front part of the bulkhead will be tabbed in, I ground the bottom and the sides so that there's exposed glass, so the tabbing will have good glass to adhere to. This is not a fun place to be. It's actually really hot in here. I've got the hatch open behind me, but there's hardly any air moving through here. And it's just been totally filled with fiberglass dust, like inches thick of dust on everything. I've been trying to vacuum a bunch as I go, but super itchy. I cannot wait for this to be done. All right, I showed you the before shot of what it looked like. Now I'll show you the after. So I've got these sides where the bulkhead sits nice and smooth now. So I'll be able to put the bulkhead in and get a good bond to the hull sides. And then anywhere where I need to do fiberglass on either side of the bulkhead, it's been ground down and sanded. So it's good clean fiberglass to get a good bond to. It'll need to be wiped down before I do the actual glassing, but I'm not going to do that now because there's still a ton of dust in the air and the dust will just settle right back on the surface. So I'm going to need to wipe it down right before I do the glass work. That's about enough for me for today. I'm going to go see how the Dodger's coming.
How's it coming, Alex?
Slowly, but we are making solid progress now. We'll be ready to install this, or at least test fit it today, and then glass tomorrow.
This is how the project gets done. It's fueled by Tecate.
Okay, finally, after all day of patterning, binding, what else do we do? We
Basing, cussing. And
the machine having some issues. We are ready to see if it fits. Gary, are you ready for this?
This is only a test. Here.
It looks really short.
It's not stretched out yet.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
yeah. Don't freak out yet. That comes later. What's that?
Should the zipper land underneath or right on this?
It'll come right to the.
So it should come up a bit, or it should go down
No, like that'll sit on the
like that. Okay.
side of the bow right there, and then this will be sewn kind of right to the edge of that window. Okay, I'm not. We seem a little short on this side. Yet.
Getting down to the
No, because it's like these seams are still,
pretty okay.
yeah, and they're still pretty tight together.
Yep.
So as that stretches out, or once that's flat seam
Mm-hmm.
across the top, that's going to push that down a lot more. And we don't have our zippers put on. I mean, there's a lot of slack still in this.
Okay.
So yeah, we're in good shape.
The next day, it was time to cut out Stratoglass panels and stitch them into the new Dodger. The cruiser's lounge at the Boatyard was a perfect space for rolling out these large sheets of vinyl. While the sheets were weighted down and flattening out, we got to work building the pockets in the Dodger that would hide the cut edges of the windows.
I think I want this in.
That end. Another problem with the machine. This is what Alex spends half his time doing, I think.
Threading, rethreading.
It was a broken needle this time.
Fun stuff.
Alex is putting in the first rivet. Do you call it a rivet? What is it?
Common sense fastener.
Common sense fastener. Whew, I'm nervous. I hope this thing fits.
Me too. Ah, it's gonna be beautiful.
We installed each of the fasteners that will secure the front of the Dodger, reusing the parts already mounted to the deck from our old one.
All right, well, I'm going to get back on the rudder today. I've already taken all of the paint and barrier coat off of one side and sand it down, ready for fiberglass, but I've decided I'm going to take off all of the bottom paint on the other side as well. And that way I'll just be able to wrap the entire rudder with a new coat of fiberglass, which should be a lot easier to wrap and make sure that it's all sealed up and watertight. Okay, I got all the bottom paint off of the other side. Now I just need to figure out if I'm going to remove the barrier coat or if I'm just gonna epoxy and fiberglass over it. I think it's probably best to remove the barrier coat, but I'm gonna do a little more research and make a decision. Okay, well, the verdict is that although you can probably get away with non-structural bonding of fiberglass to an epoxy barrier coat, to be completely certain that I'm gonna get a good bond, it's best to take off all of this old barrier coat. So, I'm gonna get the sander going again, get suited up, and sand this down, hopefully for the last time. The rudder is getting pretty close. I've got, I'd say, about 95% of the paint and barrier coat off. There's just a few spots around some of the tight corners that I'm gonna have to get in by hand to take care of. All right, the rudder is fully sanded. I think it's ready to be cleaned and then prepped for fiberglass, but that's gonna wait. Tomorrow I'm gonna jump back on the bulkhead.
Morning.
Good morning.
We have another full day of the Dodger on our hands. Half day of Dodger. Okay, and then we're
Very
gonna
optimistic here.
then we're gonna start on the Bimini. But we're just making the wings for our side panels right now. Now
Feels
we're
good.
moving.
That feels good, doesn't it?
I like when I hear that constant stitching sound.
Not just
Yeah. Today's lunch, the little burritos. We bought them from a roadside stand. The cooler, we've been eyeing this lady. Every morning she has a cooler. So today I was going to get lunch and I figured I'd stop and ask her what they were. Small burritos. What do you guys think? Pretty good? You want to guess how much they were?
10 pesos each.
10 pesos each.
Really?
Ding, ding, ding. So they were 50 cents each. And we got bean, carne, and chicharrones. We just ate lunch. And it seems like we're making good progress on the Dodger. We're putting the isinglass in, the strata glass. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a quick little tour of what it's like in the Boatyard here. So our friends Calico Skies are nearby, and Delos, and we're all just working on our boats. But despite it being a dusty, dirty boatyard, it's kind of fun, especially when you have your friends nearby. And you can go check in on them. You can see how their projects are doing, and if you need any tools or any supplies, you can check with your buddies and see if they have anything. So I just needed a little break. I'm gonna go and see what Calico's doing down here.
What up?
What are you guys doing?
Epoxy 101 going on over here.
70 blisters later.
Oh,
Yep, you gotta spin it a little bit faster. You probably need more than that because that's still pretty runny.
just thought I'd come and see what you guys were working on. I needed a break. What are you working on?
Nothing.
A beer or no?
Break time.
I do too. This is the whole point of the new Dodger, so we can see out of it. So without this part, there was really no point.
If we don't do this part right, then you're in worse shape than you were before. You can see
Well, that's
nothing.
why I'm nervous about it, because I know how critical this part is.
Each panel of Stratoglass was marked, cut, and fit into place on the Dodger. This vinyl cost $300 for a 54-inch by 110-inch sheet, so we purchased just enough to complete the project and had zero room for error. Double-sided tape was used to hold the panels in place on this umbrella material, and then they were ready to be stitched into the Dodger.
Well, we've been back here in the yard for a little over a week now, and it feels like maybe we're making some progress, but what we found with the rudder was definitely a pretty big setback. We'll see how it goes. We've got the Dodger nearing completion. The forward stateroom is ready for fiberglassing. The rudder's most of the way prepared for fiberglassing, and all the other little projects can kind of wait.
The beers are here.
Just in time.
Money wagon.
Yeah, baby.
I'm sure you need one.
Yes, please.
There you go.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for the beer delivery.
No problem, anytime.
Every day we would make our morning commute from the apartment we had rented to the boatyard, and every single morning the portable canvas shop in front of One Life would be reassembled. So this morning we are measuring out the windows for the top part of our Dodger, and then this is the last part that we have, the last windows that we have for it. So it's pretty exciting. Hopefully we get the Dodger done today. We thought we'd get it done yesterday, but we ran behind. So now that we have the pieces cut out, we're just putting double-sided tape on each side so we can stick them in there. Then we'll start sewing. Well, Alex will start sewing. I lost my sewing privileges. Alright, so now we're cutting this umbrella for our glass that Alex is gonna stitch in here shortly. It's coming together. A big reveal! What?
We can see out the front window now. Just needs to be stitched in so it doesn't blow away.
Feeding the entire Dodger through the little Sailrite machine was tricky, but with all hands on deck, it went smoothly. At Alex's canvas shop back in South Carolina, he has a much larger table and machine to tackle large projects like these. But here in the dusty boatyard in Mexico, we make do with what we have. All right, up it goes for our first fitting since we have the glass in. Pretty nervous about this. It was a real pain in the butt. So it's not fitting. We're about, I don't know, like a couple inches off on the side, but we just fitted it yesterday and it fit fine. So we're just trying to figure out what changed with the glass being in and this umbrella out. So. These are the real frustrating parts of boat jobs. That you don't want to film. You worked on this thing for 5 days and it doesn't fit. With the days of Alex's visit ticking away and our Dodger still not complete, it was time to really bear down. As the sun set, we all worked together to unstitch and restitch the modifications needed to make the Dodger fit. And when we ran out of daylight, we pressed on using portable headlights until the batteries ran out. Absolutely exhausted, but still determined, we woke up early and got right back to work. Alex had a flight back to South Carolina in just 3 more days, and beyond the Dodger, we still had the bimini top and entire enclosure to complete. The fit might not have been 100% perfect, but it looked good, and it was time to move on. It is nice and shiny. Morale's low. So what's the next part?
This is the blanket for the bimini. That look pretty good on center line.
We really admired Alex's determination to tackle this project. With a makeshift canvas shop, an old machine that's literally been around the world, and a complicated enclosure, this was never going to be easy. But Alex kept his head down through every long day and pushed through each and every one of the challenges that arose.
See, I told you I could do it. Promise to feed me tonight.
We might give you a beer. With the bimini secured in place, we spent some time talking through where we wanted the side panel zippers and windows. There's an enormous amount of sailing lines, electrical wires, and stainless frame pieces that all have to be taken into account when designing the enclosure. With our plans in place and zippers for the side panels installed on the bimini, we were finally feeling pretty good about our progress.
We earned cervezas, Alex.
Cheers.
Salud.
Good job today, y'all.
Whew.
Thank you so much.
There are dozens of small restaurants serving tacos, quesadillas, and tortas throughout Puerto Penasco. Tonight, we chose Los Poblanos for some carne asada, el pastor, and cabeza tacos. Yup, that's beefhead, and it's absolutely delicious. A break like this from the Boatyard with an authentic Mexican dinner was exactly what we needed. To top it off, on the way home, we stopped for a real treat, churros. This deep-fried and sugar-coated Mexican snack is the perfect way to cap a night, and we headed home ready to face another hard day of work at the Boatyard in the morning.
No, don't put this on camera. I don't want anybody to see this shit.